John, thank you for joining me here at Banger HQ. We've kind of taken over the front of the office and set up a little, I thought you'd feel a little more at home with some amps and guitars behind us.
I do feel a little bit more comfortable.
When you read about someone's career, it might seem like it was an instant success, but the more I looked into you, I saw that you really did cut your teeth doing sessions for cheap and really making a name for yourself and driving out to LA.
Right.
You really earned your stripes to get where you are.
Yeah, I drove out with the drummer from Megadeth, Chuck Bueller. He was on the
So Far,
So Good, So What album, and we drove out together, and I didn't know anything. You know, I came from a very secluded, like very safe upbringing, and I didn't know anything. I got to LA, slept on the floor with, you know, and these other guys were around. They stole my money, not Chuck, but his like friends and stuff, stole my money. I had nothing the first day. And I knew one other person, and I went and stayed with him and lived in like a room, a rehearsal room, no bathroom or anything, and I just sat in there and played. And I was a valet for like celebrity parties, so I would park everybody's car and I would take their car because they would be in this party for like 3 hours, so I would like be driving down Henley's car around and stuff, go pick up my friends.
I guess rich guys don't look at the odometer.
I don't think so.
I think like that Ferris Bueller thing was a myth, right?
It was exactly that, because they'd be in these parties for hours, so I'd be like, hey, dude, look at, I got this, you know, this Porsche and stuff. You know, you had the keys and everything. As long as you don't take 1 penny from the change, you know, everything's fine.
Yeah, gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Have a little fun, too.
Yeah.
So flash forward to 2019, yet another solo record. You're out touring it. Videos have been very entertaining. I like them all, but I'm kind of hung up on that zoinks riff, man. That slapping thing. I really wanted to nerd out on that riff, like how that kind of sound came to be and maybe break it down a bit for me.
Yeah, I've always loved like a great bass player, like a really great bass player. I just started doing the slap thing and it's so rhythmic and it's so cool. And I like to push the boundaries. To be honest, I just sit in front of the TV and I play all day and I just see what I can do to make it a little out of the ordinary, just to do something a little different. And then, you know, there's all sorts of crazy tapping and picking and plucking and pulling in that song, so it's fun.
The band you've got, the Creatures, sound so dope, dude. You picked yourself a world-class dudes to jam with.
Those poor guys, I rehearse them like crazy because it's a difficult show. It's a difficult show because there's so much going on. There's all these notes, there's all these things, and if someone's like going like this or something at the show and they're trying to get your attention, or someone's pounding on your foot off beat or something like that, and you're like, how distracting is that? You know, like when you're going like this and it's got to be just on time perfect and someone's like off beat or something, you're like, ah. So I rehearse the band so hard just for those, you know, things, because those things happen. Last night, I was getting shocked up there, so I'm playing, I'm like, okay, I'm getting shocked too, but I can't take this hand away and like signal anything because I'm playing, you know, so it's difficult.
Maybe you'll come up with a Shock Me type song out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I did go to sleep last night and I was glowing. I was like, this can't be good.
Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie, both known for the over-the-top arena stage show. Can you tell me about perhaps a wardrobe or prop malfunction over the years that kind of stands out as a cool story?
Oh my God, there's so many. With Zombie, he's got this big robot and that head is so heavy. It comes down like this and he's carrying the head around and it's so heavy and this robot is dancing like that. And some of the times that head is a little too heavy and it falls over. And seeing that thing try to get up, there's nothing funnier I don't think I've ever seen in my life, because you could just see him in this dark outfit trying to get up in front of like 10,000 people. And then there's like this big Satan that comes out with these lobster claws and like the claw will fall off or something. With Manson, there's been so many things like where he's stuck up on the lift and he's like so mad or something like that, but he's way up in the air. So, you know, things like that, they go wrong all the time.
Just like the show must go on, you're a pro, right?
Exactly, the show must go on.
In terms of live playing, I've heard you say that you like to present the songs and the licks exactly how they appear on records.
Yes.
I find that to be a very interesting thing, especially because a lot of bands have the way they do things live and then the way they do things in the studio.
Absolutely.
Where does that kind of drive to sound like the album come from?
That's a great question, and I guess everything is from when you're a kid. I went to go see a certain band, and I was like so excited because I knew every lick and I knew every fill and every lyric and all that stuff, and I was so excited. And when I got there, you know, and then they would change the songs around so much, and I remember I was like disappointed a little bit, but then I would go see another band and it was exact. And I really think there is an art of playing something exactly how it was written. I really do. It's just like a piece of music, like Mozart or something. You're not gonna like, you know, change it. Right. You know, you're gonna play it just how it is. So it kind of, you know, bit me in the ass because my instrumental stuff, now I have to play everything exactly, and there's a lot of notes to remember. Over an hour and a half show, you know, there's gotta be close to 500,000 notes to remember in a perfect sequence, you know, so, but I really enjoy playing things exactly like how they're recorded. And when I'm recording now, I'm like, well, am I gonna be able to do this live? Am I going to be hitting this pedal and doing this? So I always record my stuff live, because then when I play live, it sounds just like the record.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about on stuff that you didn't write? So like if playing with Manson and Zombie, were there songs in the set that you didn't record on that were challenging to like, you know, play live because you didn't create them?
Exactly. I play it exactly how it is on the record.
That's awesome.
Down to the little note, to the squeal, to the everything. We just did Astro Creep 2000. We did the whole album. And I learned that thing because I love that record, and we learned it perfect. I mean, and we did one show and we made a live record from it. So we had one chance to get it right, and but I'm really proud of it.
No overdubs, no bullshit?
No. And on my record, I put out a live record, and it was one shot. They had a recording place at the venue, and I said, let's record. And I swear to you, there's not one overdub. It is 100% completely live, and I'm super proud of that. You know, there's not one overdub, or on the Zombie record either.
That's awesome. That's obviously, it's alive.
Yeah. It's completely alive.
Your upbringing, very interesting. Your family supported a music career as long as it didn't interfere with an academic career.
The deal was, I would play late at night, and I'd get home at 2 in the morning. My mom made a deal. She said, as long as you get up for school, you can play these shows. But the first time you don't go to school, then you're going to be, you know, you can't do it anymore. So I always got up, and I was little, and I would play so much this part of my hand grew larger. And not really the fingers. You'd think it's your fingers, but it's this part, and like, you know, this hand is larger from that hand. Those early shows of me just having experience, experience is so important. It's just like hitting the bag, you know, hitting the bag, but then when you go into the ring, that's your experience. You can hit the bag, you know, for years and years and years, but you have to get in the ring. And that's why I was doing these shows and playing on stage, you know, for waiters and waitresses, but it was just experience.
Playing with such a wide variety of artists, I found it really interesting, some quotes of yours saying that you play differently for each artist, and that when you go into an audition, you really need to understand the look of each individual band and truly look that part that you're trying to get. I've seen you chicken pick, I've seen you shred.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself to be a total musical chameleon, and is that part of the key to the John 5 success?
I really wanted to be a session guy, and I saw this show, this thing on HBO, and it was called Session Man. And I was so little, and I was like, that's what I want to do. This guy gets to play on all these records, but he knew all these styles. And that show, it changed my life. And so I started at such a young age learning every style of music, you know, the country and the bluegrass and the western swing and the rock and the everything. And it really helped me when I started working a lot and touring a lot, because, you know, people would ask for this or that, you know. Like when I went on audition for Katie Lang, it was a lot of open tuning or Nashville tunings or, things like that. And luckily I was, you know, had some education on that, and it helped out a lot.
Live shows and studio settings are so vastly different. Why do you choose to immerse yourself in both so heavily? Do they both give you a certain, they both like get you off musically differently?
Of course, I'm always happy with the guitar in my hand. And luckily I get to record and then also play live. So I have the best of both worlds in that sense. Sometimes, like, if you're in the studio for a very long time, you're like, you want to get out and play live shows, and vice versa. So it's just a wonderful thing. I get to, you know, do all this stuff with this guitar and these things that I love to do. It's a wonderful life, and I couldn't be happier. You know, even when it's cold or rainy, I'm like, you know, I'm so lucky to be here.